The comic book has grown up. Once it was only on newsstands, but now it can be found almost everywhere, even in libraries and museums. At the Petit Paterno Library on the University Park campus, graphic novels that have earned their place in today's popular culture are on exhibit. But let's back up our story to the beginning. What is a graphic novel?
The graphic novel is, simply put, a story told in pictures and words. That's really how you would define a graphic novel, although that sounds oversimplified.
There are some amazing biographies in graphic novel form, and nonfiction, and political commentaries, and satire, and it just has really expanded that notion of Archie and Veronica, or of the superheroes, and it's really taken us to places, I think, where we need to go as adults, what we hunger for in literature.
Stories can be told in this compelling way with pictures and words, but about more complex subjects than comics had previously tackled.
This is a good example of a graphic novel. In addition to having, I think, all of the typical characteristics of a graphic novel, this was a particularly successful example. In this situation, the character's had an accident, and so he's lying on the road, and his nose is starting to bleed. And then there's an unusual transition, where suddenly we're just sort of following a little bird out in the woods. And the little bird, just in a few pages, travels through 3 different time periods. So here we are in the Civil War era, in a hospital tent. In 1893, during the Chicago Exposition, and then finally a little clinic. And then we're back with the character who's sitting and waiting to see the doctor at the clinic. The page layout with Chris Ware is usually very complex. He's very meticulous about how he uses the space on the page. And he's creative about it too, so that we have to be creative in reading it, trying to decide what the sequence is that we want to take the images in.
The social protest of the 1960s fueled the beginnings of the graphic novel. Underground cartoonists took the treasured entertainment form of comics and stretched its limits.
We're looking at a book called A Contract with God, which was written and illustrated by Will Eisner in 1978. It is considered by many to be the first graphic novel, the first official graphic novel. He's the one that said that it was the underground cartoonists who are responsible for the literary maturity of comics. He said that they moved comics into a field of talking about real issues in life and creating really important art. This book is called The Big Yum Yum Book, and it was created by Robert Crumb. He is a monumental figure in the field of comics. He created this book in the mid-70s, 1975. It's his first graphic novel. He did it when he was 19 years old. He's known as the creator of Mr. Natural, Angel Food McSpade, Fritz the Cat, many other characters. So he's a key pivotal figure in the field of comics.
No story is too big or too small for the graphic novel. Themes range from stories about everyday life on the streets of Cleveland, the true retelling of Texas history, the Iranian Revolution, the Arab-Israeli conflict, and Elvis.
This is the work of Phoebe Glockner, who's a hugely important female artist working in the field of graphic novels today. Her work is really intense and autobiographical and really speaks to what it's like to be a woman in America today. And her 2002 novel, Diary of a Teenage Girl, is a combination of prose and poetry and art and comics, and it's a really innovative graphic novel. This is the cover of American Splendor #4, written by Harvey Pekar, and many of the stories in this comic book were drawn by Robert Crumb. Robert Crumb met Harvey Pekar in 1962 in Cleveland, Ohio. Robert Crumb was working at American Greeting Card Company when he met Harvey Pekar, and they became friends through their mutual love and collecting of records, of jazz and blues records. And so Crumb started illustrating Harvey Pekar's stories, and the rest, as they say, is history. And Harvey went on to bigger fame when American Splendor was made into a movie in 2003, starring Paul Giamatti. So once again, comics have had a huge influence on our culture.
You should try believing in something bigger than yourself. It might cheer you up.
What, do we seem depressed?
The market is out there, and the collective publishing representation knows that the graphic novel is really now a mainstream force. The films that are coming out of graphic novels too show that there's an audience even beyond those that read the graphic novels, but that format is intriguing to people.
This is the work of Art Spiegelman. He is one of the world's best known graphic artists. Mouse was a story that he wrote in pictures and in words about his parents surviving the Holocaust. They were both in concentration camps, and he tells the story of how they survived. So Art Spiegelman is somebody that is telling really important historical events using pictures and words, using a comic book format. And Mouse won a Pulitzer Prize, a special Pulitzer Prize in 1992. It's the only comic work that has won a Pulitzer Prize.
The graphic novel no longer lingers in the shadows of the underground. It's popular. It's mainstream. It remains true to character, telling stories of today through the power of words and pictures.